Welcome to Frame by Frame Analysis, where I slow down and break down fight scenes in Becker's animation vs. Minecraft, which are usually too fast or too far to completely see the nooks and crannies of. And today, we're talking about the King fight scene in episode 30. This is a scene that has a lot of emotional elements, but also not as big of a team fight scene as you'd expect because it transitions between large, wide-shot team fights and intimate 1v1s culminating into a great character moment. So, we'll only be focusing primarily on the team fights, and then I'll sprinkle in some cool details I find in between the character moments. Let's begin. The fight opens with Purple launching himself to the King and interrupting the shockwave. King is flung to the ground and everyone realizes that he's completely disarmed. We see that Blue and the skeleton are fending off the left, Orange is recovering from a bad fall, and Yellow is grabbed by a pseudo-warden. Purple mass erases the clones and clears the board for them. The King tries to run back to Purple, but Yellow blocks off his engage. King countermaneuvers this and uses the side of the Titan Ravager to climb over to Purple, who is saved by the Enderman. King is tackled to the ground and slammed into the opposite wall, but he's able to kick off the Enderman and continue his pursuit. King uses the Enderman's toppled body to jump over the spider's spiderweb. He uses that jump to continuously arc all the way over Yellow's barrier and lands by power sliding under Yellow's feet. He continues the pursuit by pushing himself with the back leg to brace himself to jump towards Purple, but he interrupts his own jump when Orange lunges at him, so King propels himself forward and pushes him off. Blue provides immediate support but can't do anything as King shoves Orange into him before he can draw the bow. King uses Orange and Blue's discombobulation as a way to jump on top of Orange's head and use him as a platform. But Green, Red, and the Spider successfully grab onto him before he can steal back the staff. Red and Green grab onto his neck and Green closes the distance by reeling himself closer and locking King's head in a chokehold. He flips both of them and slams King down with Red still keeping him immobilized. When Green gets off, Red keeps up the combo by diving for the King. Green and Red push up against him. Orange and Blue recover and Orange continues the pursuit. The Enderman joins in here and Yellow turns the ground into a soul sand pit. Blue and the skeleton hold the King at gunpoint. The sequence continues with Purple trying to break the void, but Yellow's grip strength is no match for the King, and the command block staff is grabbed from him as Yellow tries to pacify the Titan Ravager. A lot of people blame Yellow for this, but you're going to have to convince me that this isn't the fault of the 3 other people that were on him. Like, if he's able to break free from all of the people that are grabbing onto him and still grab onto Yellow, then I don't really blame Yellow for not being able to contest this one. Anyway, the staff is grabbed from Yellow and the King shoots them all away from him. Green though recovers immediately and initiates combat. King tries to stab into him with the staff, but Green's able to block with the sword. Green stays on the defensive though, which gives him a millisecond to rod the opposite end of the staff and pull it towards him. Yellow tries to tackle the staff off of the King, but he doesn't relent. Instead, Yellow uses this to disable the hold on the Warden. Green unhooks the rod, but that gives King the opportunity to kick Yellow in the back. King uses that jump from Yellow to lunge for Green. Green's able to continue the defensive, but King's attacks are much more forceful than his previous ones. King doesn't give Green the same amount of contact time with the weapon, opting instead for sweeping strikes. Then, he creates an obsidian wave from under the Warden and throws the Warden to the opposite side. King also gives himself resistance 3 as the obsidian wall is broken by the Titan Ravager. This cushions him enough to still be on his feet despite taking a direct hit. Red and Green dive for him from both high and low fronts. Green rods to the space behind King while Red engages in direct contact to keep King preoccupied. King reacts fast enough though, and before Green can close the distance, he's cut off by an obsidian wall that breaks his motion and disconnects his line. The obsidian wall pushes Red back and the King holds Green by the neck. But Blue uses the wall as an opportunistic vantage point and launches himself from the other side to use the obsidian wall as a platform. The King retaliates with a barrier as Blue and the skeleton try to shoot him down. Yellow and Orange also join in the fray. Orange climbs onto the Warden's back while Red grabs onto the Spider. I love Red's little hop here as the Warden carries him and Red is launched to the other side, which lets him use a spider to web the staff, breaking Green free. As the King spawns fire that trap Red and Green in. Blue equips the fireworks that he got from Yellow and jumps off of the platform just soon enough before the Titan Ravager breaks the obsidian wall and fights the King head on. Meanwhile, the Enderman gets to the back and saves Red and Green before they get closed in on as the King is pushed back. The King's able to dodge through all of that by using the Titan Ravager as the needed platform to hop over the fortress wall and climb to Red, Green, and the Enderman. The Enderman also teleports in a way that lets Green and Red protect Purple's flank. The king creates a landing platform for all of them as green initiates with a sword strike. Red and green share alternating strikes with the king, but the king's able to parry both of them with just enough force to break their movement. I want to break this fight down the most because I think this is where king shines in terms of both dexterity and strength. Red and green have very contrasting fighting styles. While one is on the two-handed force-based stabs, the other is in faster parries and stabler stances. Green relies on using his balance more, which lets him maintain a rigid and planted stance despite getting parried. Meanwhile, Red, who's in a strength versus strength combat, can't compete with the sheer force of the king and is occasionally knocked back. Green is able to interweave multiple attacks per movement, while Red still has to charge up his hits. This exact position gives the Warden and Orange the opportunity to fly from the ground into him and knock him back. This sends the king to the sky, but unfortunately at the perfect position to be in the same elevation as Purple. They can't beat King at raw strength, so Orange and the Warden are pummeled down. Purple tries to jolt Black Lightning towards them, but is too slow to charge up the attack. The king also enchants himself with invisibility, which lets him get the jump on Purple, who's still recovering from the swing. King charges up the next attack and inflicts Purple with Weakness 3, Slowness 3, and himself with Strength 2 and Speed 3. Fun fact, this debuff on Purple is perfectly timed with his next appearance in the episode, which is in 3 minutes. These buffs allow King to beat down on Purple and retrieve the Minecraft block staff once and for all. The next sequence is a fully activated King fighting all of them. Green grabs Purple and drags him away from the fray. Red supports Green and Purple and gets them both to safety. Meanwhile, Blue and the Skeleton rush to the front and provide cover fire, but are unmatched by OP hacks. King charges a supernova of black energy, which spawns back the evil clones of the Titan Ravager. The king continues his pursuit by manipulating the lava to knock them all back. I love how you can see their different landing positions stay consistent with their character skills. Green and Blue are the best on their feet, so they still stay upright, but Yellow and Red tumble to their backs. Purple is able to catch himself with the Elytra. Then, we have the sequence with Herobrine. Now, this sequence is actually much more straightforward than the rest of them because it gets the primary focus. I don't actually have to dissect it that much, so I'll just give you a few cool details. Herobrine's fighting style in the first half relies on evasion. He moves like a ragdoll and an eldritch force that's nigh inevitable. His skill set includes being able to teleport himself and also to teleport others, like how he got his students to safety. His Herobrine clones are also pretty interesting, but they don't have the same durability and speed as the real thing. On the opposite side, the king demonstrates how versatile the staff really is in terms of power. He wields the Minecraft block and the staff with so much more proficiency compared to Purple, Orange, and Yellow, who had to rely on what they already knew to beat him. But the way the king changes from different attack patterns shows that the weapon is an extension of his skill, not his reliance. This is opposed to someone like Yellow that, as we'll see in the future, plays the weapon like a mage. He manages to grab the king and surround him, but the Minecraft block is too strong. I think it's this sequence that I really love for the king. Actually, he kind of fights these guys the same way Green fights against the cave spiders and against Primal, but he's overwhelmed. But when it seems like Herobrine has the upper hand, that's when King discovers the other part of the Minecraft block, that they're all Minecraft mobs, and that the logic from Ultimate Weapon applies to them as well. This changes the tone of their fight, and Herobrine is now exclusively on the defensive. He stops engaging in melee combat as the king closes the gap between them. When Herobrine is captured, we get the next sequence, which is an amazing callback to the original Minecraft episode. Red and Herobrine team up against the king. This is also a pretty straightforward fight, so the only detail that I really want to point out is that all of the weapons that Herobrine conjures are exclusively Minecraft. Blue and Yellow tried to provide assistance, but the Titan Ravager is taken away from them during this pursuit. The skeleton is also grabbed by the neck, much to his detriment, and is taken by the block. Yellow starts backing away, but Red comes in with a sword to continue the attack. However, this isn't enough as the king successfully parries an arrow into Red and breaks the obsidian armor. Red suffers several continuous slams before he reforms the obsidian golem, but the block is still too strong for him. When he thinks he's got the king recalls the arrows and shatters the obsidian armor once and for all. Red is left defenseless as Herobrine is taken away from him. Purple recovers from the status effects just in time to catch a falling Red, and Herobrine is officially defeated and stored inside the Minecraft block. Green and the spider tried to retaliate by holding him down. Green successfully lassos the line around the king, but the spider falls a bit too close to the king that he's still able to swing the staff at it and seal it off. The force breaks Green's line, and the Enderman has to catch him mid-air. Orange, blue, and yellow join the fray with Orange on the warden's back trying to go on the offensive. Green joins the fray with Enderman, but they're separated as the king slams up and successfully seals in the Enderman. The king sends an obsidian wave to wash through green, blue, and yellow, leaving Orange to face him. The warden is set to back into the Minecraft block, but before it could disappear, it throws Orange off of him, probably because it wants to make sure that Orange isn't sucked along with it. The next sequence is finally an unassisted battle between the Color Gang and the king. The sequence opens with Red unconscious and Purple having to watch over him. Blue, yellow, and green are sent flying. Yellow is the first one of the three to notice Red's state as he sits back up and he looks at Red. Meanwhile, Purple has to catch Orange, who was thrown from the sky. Purple redirects Orange's attention to an unconscious Red as they both look down. We get a panning shot of King destroying Minecraft and a beam of bright white light. In a previous short, I interpreted this scene as them being sad for Red's near-death state, but for this video, I want to take on a more neutral interpretation. Orange and Purple are covering their eyes from the blast, but we barely make out Red coughing himself awake. You have to catch it with the smallest movements of his head against the bandana. Yellow realizes that Red's awake and both him and Orange run to Red's side. Purple lowers his guard in relief and the three of them help Red up. Blue is still heaving from the previous battle, but he and Green do turn to look at Red and they continue their onslaught. Red is invigorated and I love how you can see Purple kind of reaching out to him. But realizing that they need to pull themselves together, Purple joins in the charge. It's here that I realized how much Green is actually the pivotal character amongst the Color Gang throughout this sequence. While the other four did get their adventures during this season, Green, through his connection with Purple, has the most pseudo-spotlight against the king. And he's the one that actually continuously holds up the 1v1s. This detail is further exemplified in the next scenes. Anyway, let's continue. Green and Purple lead the charge against the king, with Green rodding himself closer and hurling himself onto his back. He lassos the rod again like a noose around the king's neck and forces his head backwards, with Purple charging in Superman uppercut style and Yellow trying to fly at the king with the sword. The king catches Yellow's sword though and hurls him back into the white light. Meanwhile, Purple and Green go for the frontal assault as Purple lands on the king's back and he jumps just fast enough for Green to have space. Blue is already there to continue the attack. Green's able to attach the hook to the back of King's neck and angle the king's head down to give Blue a clear headshot. Except the king is able to use Yellow's sword to parry Blue's arrow. Green does a U-turn and prepares to attack with Purple. They cover both sides of the king as Green is knocked off, but Purple's able to arch the king enough to give Blue a direct shot. Blue shows no mercy and just dives right in front of his face and starts shooting. But neither of them are strong enough to hold him down as Blue is flung off. Orange and Red are able to lunge at the king. Red is grabbed mid-air by the neck and flung away as Orange lands on the ground. Green and Purple do a combo as Green casts the line towards Purple, who grabs onto the hook. However, this isn't enough and unfortunately Green is flung right off. Purple doesn't let go of the hook and is sent flying with him. This is the end of the final teamfight sequence of the king as they regather their thoughts and try again. The next sequence is a series of all of them charging at the king one by one, and this scene doesn't need any further dissection, but I love that this does showcase their personalities and how they engage. Red's the one that's most passionate and charges in first, with Green being the one that has to support Red's engage. Orange and Blue always aim for the head, and we get a cool scene with Yellow and Purple. Also, some details that I found in the ending sequence, since this has been consistent throughout the fight. Green's clarinet can be heard calling out to Purple, whose violin responds much more flatly. Then when Purple is whisked away, Green can be seen in shock, then crying. At first, I did think that he was just wiping his face, but then I realized, why didn't everyone else do this? And also, that kind of just defeats the atmosphere of the whole scene. Yellow, blue, and red are also in shock, and it has to be orange that pulls them out of the daze of seeing someone literally die. In their escape sequence, green, yellow, and red make a clutch catch on orange. Green and blue also boost the other three to get them over the edge safely, while they both rod themselves over. Blue also has to be stopped multiple times by red and yellow from jumping to the piglins. For the final Minecraft baton pass, green is the first one to quote-unquote die as we see him falling straight into the white void. Red falls next after swinging the staff. Blue throws both yellow and orange to the other side before disappearing. Yellow's the next one to get completely engulfed after throwing orange. None of them were willing to sacrifice each other during the sequence. Orange actually does try to sacrifice himself in the beginning by throwing the rod to blue, but yellow still prioritizes saving him. And we know how everything else goes. Orange is successful, the day is saved, and luckily no one was murdered, or else this would have been a very different series. And with that, we've finished this monster of a fight scene. I really enjoyed this frame-by-frame analysis because it kind of helped me understand King's fighting style a lot more, especially since he is an adult. And I also like that he isn't just OP hacks, well, you know, in a way he is, but he's also a really skilled brawler. And he does use the staff like an actual weapon. Anyway, I'm Mushi, and that has been the frame-by-frame analysis of the King final fight scene. If you like this kind of content and want to see more Alan Becker frame-by-frame analysis of random fight scenes in this series, consider subscribing. Anyway, I'm out.